Hi, I'm Lindsay Resnick. I'm the archivist at the Breman Museum. And the Breman Museum is a Jewish heritage and history museum in Atlanta, Georgia. We focus on the history of Jews in Georgia and Alabama, as well as the Holocaust and Holocaust survivors who later settled in Georgia and Alabama. I am originally from New York, and I moved to Roswell, Georgia when I was 14, and I've become enamored with the South, and I am proud to say that Georgia is my home. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that what I do is research. I do help researchers, mostly in history, try to find resources for primary resources for their research in history. And what an archivist does is they help researchers find what they're looking for. They organize collections, they take in donations, and they make sure that historic documents, photographs, and audiovisual materials are kept safe and accessible to researchers. So I kind of stumbled into this field actually when I was 16 years old, and I volunteered at Bullock Hall, which is a historic home in Roswell, Georgia, my hometown. And I actually got to read and help transcribe historic letters that were written between Theodore Roosevelt Sr. and Martha Bullock, who later became the parents of President Theodore Roosevelt. And Martha Bullock was born in and grew up in Bullock Hall, this historic home in Roswell, Georgia. And that kind of got me really inspired and really interested in historic documents. And ever since then, I've been focused on basically becoming maybe not an expert, but just somebody who loves and is familiar with historic documents. And I went to I received my undergraduate degree from Georgia Tech in Atlanta in history, which a lot of people don't know that we have a history degree at Georgia Tech, but we do. And I later received my graduate degree in history from Georgia State University in their Heritage Preservation program, which I had a concentration in public history, which basically all of this is to say that my single-minded career focus throughout my life since I'm 16 years old has been to work with historic documents, photographs, and audiovisual materials. So it's a long way of just saying I really like old paper. You know, it's really funny, when you had given me this question beforehand, I've been trying to think of a good answer for this, but I really find that so much of what I help researchers try to find is fascinating, and it's something that I had never seen before. I keep finding new things in there, and whenever we have a researcher and they're like, oh wow, this finally helped answer a question that I've had about my research subject for however long. That's always just the most rewarding experience about my job. But I also really just like learning about the local history angle. As I said, I'm a proud resident of Georgia and a proud resident of Atlanta. And I am enamored with Atlanta's history and the history of North Georgia. And whenever there's those local connections that we can make, especially, for example, in the Jewish community, which is what I work mostly on, it's a very small community. In the Atlanta area, it represents about 1.5% of the total population, and outside of the metro area, it represents only about 0.5% of the population of Georgia. So it's a very, very small community and very close-knit. And so you see lots of names resurface. And so it's interesting to just, almost all of the Jewish people in the Atlanta area who were born in Atlanta are descended from one of these families that I've been working on and learning about throughout my 6-year career at the Breman. And it's so interesting and a lot of times we end up meeting those people, and I feel like I almost feel like I'm meeting a celebrity because I know so much about them. And I just love learning about our local history here in Georgia. And so I think that, I hope that answers your question.